Hi everyone, I hope you've been enjoying the night so far. You've still got 2 to go. It's alright, it's not over yet. So I'm here tonight to help you find a more natural you without even having to change your hair product, all through the power of citizen science. Now, nature is good for us. We know that, right? Being out in nature lowers your blood pressure, reduces your stress. It's great for your mental and your physical well-being. Do you know, doctors are even prescribing time in nature for people now. It's amazing. Serenity. Do you feel it? Okay, sorry, not always, I get it. But here, we don't have any bears coming out to hunt us down. There's not even drop bears there. It's okay. Now, I'm an ecologist and I have a PhD. So that means I get to put doctor in front of my name, and I'm going to pretend that makes me a real doctor, just for today. So I'd like to prescribe you some time in nature, but while you're there, I would like you to do something for nature in return. And I'll get to that in a minute. Now, I said I'm an ecologist. What is an ecologist? Well, if you don't know, ecologists study the ways different parts of our environments interact with each other and change over time. For example, how different species interact with each other, how they interact with the soil, with the air, with the water. It's not rocket science, it's more complicated than that. It's nature science, as this food web demonstrates, and there's lots of bits missing here. And everything plays a part, all the little things right up to the big things that we see all the time. And the problem with that is that ecologists can only study really small parts of this at a time, and it takes a really long time to work out what's going on. For example, for my PhD, I wanted to know what was going on with the ants in the Flinders Ranges under different grazing regimes. Now, lots of other people had already looked at the grass and the shrubs and the trees and the kangaroos and the sheep, okay, the really obvious things. But like I said, everything's connected and the insects play a role too. So, what did I find? Lots of little brown ants. But lots of different little brown ants, and in different environments, there were different little brown ants. Mind blown. Well, mine was anyway. There were some blue ones, but I'm not sure why. They get to live in the Flinders Ranges. Anyway, so what was going on? Well, of course, it was complicated. The ants were interacting with each other, and they were interacting with the leafhopper insects, which are interacting with the acacias, which are... I've only got a few minutes up here and I'm not allowed to bore you, but of course it was complex and everything had a role to play. And what was the legacy of all those years of research? I'm going to show you what's in my drawers. I've got ants in my drawers, but I put them there, it's okay. Yes, I have drawers and drawers of ants on pins, I have a really long thesis, and I have a government report and I think a couple of papers. Did I change the world? Anyone notice? No, I did not. The problem is that our world is changing so rapidly now with climate change, species loss, population development expansion. We can't wait for ecologists to work out what's going on. We need everyone on board. We need everyone to help out, and that's where you can come in. Has anyone ever thought about becoming a scientist? Guess what? You are one. You were born one. Humans have always been learning about their natural environment. They had to survive. And they've been sharing that knowledge in the most wonderful ways, through story and art and dance. So much more interesting than a thesis. Has anyone ever read a thesis? No. Really long, yeah, I'm sorry. Really long, boring passages, ridiculously complicated words, diagrams that take hours to decipher. Bits you just want to skip through, hoping there's something interesting coming up later on. Believe me, Lord of the Rings has nothing on a thesis. But back to you. How can you all help? Well, there are millions of people in Australia. That's a whole lot of eyes on the ground and ears in the trees. And these people live in all different environments. So, wherever you are, in work, rest, play, on holidays, you can be out there observing nature. Nature could be helping you, but you can help in return by observing and sharing those observations. Now, imagine if you're on holidays for the rest of your life. Do you know how much of Australia's budget goes to keeping old people alive? Imagine if they could repay that to society by getting involved in citizen science. Well, they're travelling around having a lovely time. Well, guess what they do? Retirees make amazing citizen scientists. For example, we had some that travelled up and down the Murray on a houseboat, and they found 2 new populations of bat species that were threatened that we never knew were there in their retirement. It's amazing. But we all have the ability now, just about everyone, has in their pocket a device that allows them to very easily connect with citizen science projects. You have a camera and you have the ability to connect to databases in Australia and around the world. So switch it round from selfie mode and get involved in citizen science. So here's a few examples of how you can get involved. There are many, many examples, and these are a couple that I've worked on. Back to insects. Did you know that there are thousands and thousands of insect species in Australia that have never been given a scientific name? So, what's the big deal about a scientific name? Well, imagine if you were only ever called Rachel, or Dave, or Horatio, and no one ever described you in any more detail. Or worse, what if you're just called Mum or Dad? See, when people talk about your individual characteristics, you know they care about you. Okay, the insects don't care that they haven't got a scientific name. But the other thing is, the way our government conservation works, you can't be listed as a threatened species unless you have a scientific name. And no conservation funds are going to go to your future if you don't have a scientific name. So, what is the process of giving things a scientific name? Well, there are some scientists called taxonomists, and it's their job to find and describe and name new species. And while that sounds super exciting, it's actually really tedious. I actually found so many ants that didn't have scientific names, there's no way I was going to be a taxonomist. But anyway, they're amazing and we love taxonomists. So, the problem is, in Australia we only have about 35 insect taxonomists, and with thousands and thousands of insects to find a name, they just can't do it alone. And yes, you can play along at home and help them out. There's an app on your phone called iNaturalist, and you can take photos of insects that you find when you're out in the bush or at home, getting your dose of nature, and if you find a new species, yes, you get naming rights. So, while you might still just be called Dad at home, you could have a shiny green beetle named after you. And here's another reason why we need to help out those taxonomists. This is a horsefly. It was named by Dr. Brian Lessard, who's a fly taxonomist. He called it Scaptia Beyonce for its resemblance to another shiny gold bot out there. I think we can help him out. And this is what happens when you get kids involved. This is a project. It is, promise. There we go. This is a project called Insect Investigators, run by Dr. Erin Fagan Jeffries. She's been connecting kids from the top of Western Australia and Queensland down to Kangaroo Island and collecting insects, and they get to name the new species with taxonomists. So, this is a tiny parasitic wasp that was found by Loxton North Primary School in the Riverland in South Australia. These parasitic wasps lay their eggs inside caterpillars, and they get to eat the caterpillar from the inside out. It's really cool. And one of the kids came up with the name Eatus the Fetus. Now, I don't think that actually got through with a taxonomist. I think they came up with something a little more sensible. But you can see how much imagination and interest there is out there. And it is so wonderful to see kids interacting positively with insects, which are important for our environments, and instead of just pulling the wings off flies and turning them into a walk. Now, here's another one that you can get involved with. If you like taking your healthy dose of nature by walking around a lake or along a river, you can get involved in the 1 Million Turtles program. Now, turtles are pretty much out of sight, out of mind for most people, unfortunately, because they do spend most of their time underwater. But unfortunately, a whole lot of our freshwater turtle species in Australia are in severe decline. But you can help out. While there are only very few handful of turtle taxonomists and ecologists in Australia, through the 1 Million Turtles program and the TurtleSat app, we're getting thousands and thousands of records of where turtles are and where they're under threat, for example, where foxes are digging up their nests or where they're getting hit on the roads. And then the fabulous thing is that we can then connect with those people and help them to undertake conservation actions around their local waterway. So together, we can all help protect and conserve 1 million of these little guys and get them back in our waterways. And also their cousins, the endangered mutant ninja ones too. We love them too. Heroes in a half shell. So, maybe you're not into creepy crawly insects or slimy reptiles. I get it. No, I don't actually. But okay. What about bird watching? Everyone loves bird watching. Beautiful birds, yes, they can very easily be turned into a citizen science project. There are lots of apps where you can share your bird observations and help bird conservation. So what if your couch is your favourite environment? For whatever reason, you can't get out and about too much, or you choose not to. That's okay, I've got a citizen science project for you too. This is the Digivol platform from the Australian Museum and Wildlife Spotter. Ecologists from around Australia put their camera trap images that they're using to monitor wildlife up on this platform, and you can help to monitor them. You know, all that time you spent identifying buses and traffic lights and zebra crossings, or you can actually use that skill to help nature through Wildlife Spotter. Nature needs us now, just as much as we need it. So please take this doctor's advice, get out there, get amongst it, join some citizen science programs. You never know, you might even find a new cockroach species that you can name after your least favourite family member. And while you're doing that, I'm also going to channel my inner natural scientist, and I'm going to bring interpretive dance into every presentation I give. Thank you.